A very warm welcome to the top three finishers of the FIA Formula One Austrian Grand Prix. In third place, Kimi Antonelli. In second place, Max Verstappen. And taking his 7th career win and his second here at the Red Bull Ring, our winner, George Russell. Very well done, George. Melbourne feels like a long time ago. What does this victory mean to you?
It feels like a long time ago, to be honest. It's been a tough couple of months with some really tricky races, you know, with races that felt like everything was going against me, then some races with some tough performances. You know, obviously I've got a really incredible teammate next to me who week in, week out is delivering some pretty spectacular performances. So for me, you know, going into Canada, going into Barcelona from quite a low point, it was... I need a lot of resilience to be able to get back and deliver some strong performances. So to get the last 2 poles, to get the win here this weekend, especially on a track which I don't think is so suited to me, I'm really, really proud about.
Toto Wolff has described this win as a cold-blooded one by you. Is that how it felt?
It didn't quite feel like that, to be honest. It felt a really calm and controlled race. I think if we took Max out of the picture, it was, you'd say, a really strong performance from Mercedes, you know, 20 seconds ahead of McLaren, more ahead of Ferrari. But with the upgrades on the Red Bull, you know, Max was in the fight for pole yesterday. Really great race pace from him today. He pressured me in the middle stint and forced me to stop with 28 laps remaining, which was quite uncomfortable. But I had a really strong first 20 laps of that stint, which allowed me just to bring it home in the final 8.
How crucial was yesterday's pole position to this win?
Yeah, for sure, it was crucial. You know, everything got hooked up. I still think we'd have been in the fight, regardless of what happened yesterday. But for sure, starting from pole position, everything is made easier.
So you retake second in the championship, ahead of your home race at Silverstone. Just how much confidence do you have going into the British Grand Prix?
I have a lot of confidence in myself knowing I can do it. I have less confidence in being able to get everything aligned with the car, the setup and the tyres, because it's just been so up and down for me. And even, you know, this weekend, at points I was 6 tenths behind Kimi, and then come Q3 I was 2 tenths ahead. And I don't honestly have a major answer for that, but those times where I've managed to deliver, you know, the pole laps, the car and the tyres have felt more akin to last year when I could deliver those performances, you know, every lap throughout a weekend. So I'll be working hard with my team to try and, you know, emulate that.
You've said already that the Red Bull Ring isn't a track that necessarily suits your style. Is Silverstone more akin to a George Russell track?
I think so. I think so. A track where you're leaning more on the front tyres, ordinarily more of a front deg track rather than a rear deg track. We should be seeing some more normal temperatures. You know, it was 60 degrees track temp at one point today. But this season has thrown so many unknowns. You know, we may both go to Silverstone, have a great weekend. We may go there and Max be on top. So I'm just going in with an open mind.
All right, well, very well done today. Thank you, George. Max, let's come to you. Many congratulations as well. Your 9th podium here at the Red Bull Ring. What's the most satisfying aspect of this P2 for you?
I'll use this one. Hello. I'll stay with this one. I think what was satisfying is that this was the first time I felt like actually I could fight for the win. I do think that the first half of the race we were more competitive because for whatever reason on the second half something felt off on the rear of the car where everything was just extremely difficult from bumps, curbs, traction. It was just completely gone. So that's something that we need to understand again what went wrong there. But yeah, the first half I felt really good. I mean, I was closing the gap, even after the battles that I had with Lewis. It was cool, but it made us, of course, lose quite a bit of time. So yeah, every time catching up. But then on the middle of the second stint, something happened with the car in the rear the axle, which made me lose space. And that just stayed there till the end. So that's a bit of a shame. But still, to be that close to a win, I think is great effort from the team. They have worked really hard, to get these upgrades on the car here. And this is the first time I think in the race where I felt like really competitive. And I could push a bit more. So that is definitely the positive I think of this weekend.
You say you could push a bit more, but just in what areas of performance is the car better with these upgrades?
It's just a bit more grip. It just goes a bit faster around the corner.
Yeah. Look, you mentioned the second stint. Do you wish you'd stopped a bit earlier for that second stop?
It's always easy now to look back at it. I do think I had the deck over George, but I also knew that because it was going to be a very long stint to the end. But we'll look at it again. I mean, I personally felt like the laps that I stayed out, I probably lost a little bit too much compared to what I gained back of those extra laps on new tires. But it's easy to say now. I mean, we still had a very good race, to be honest. It's been a pretty long road, to be here. And actually, to sit here in the top three and have a real shot at it, that is, I think, already very positive.
And do you think it's track specific, or do you think you can be quick everywhere now? And let's throw it forward to Silverstone while we're talking.
Yeah, let's take it race by race. I mean, Silverstone, I love the track, but I did a few laps on the simulator. I just started laughing. It was just, it felt like a different track, to be honest. You barely have a battery around the lap. It's just constantly flat. So it's gonna feel very different compared to what we are used to around Silverstone, because of the layout of the track. Here you have long straights, then big braking zones, so you can charge the battery. There you have long straights, but then a fast corner, for example, so you can't really charge the battery. So then the next straight, you don't have a lot to spend. It's gonna be a tough one.
Well done today. Thank you, Max, and Kimi. Very well done to you as well. We didn't get to see what you could do in quali yesterday. Just how do you reflect on the weekend as a whole, first of all?
Yeah, it was a weekend where I started very strong, and I think because of that I kind of lowered the intensity a bit too much, and coming to qualifying I just felt a bit tense driving-wise. We were still up there, but I felt like I wasn't driving that well and not as free. And of course the last lap it went like that, but I was a tenth behind George, so it probably would have been P2, very close, but P2. But of course it went like that, and obviously starting from P4, first two lap were really bad for me, and then I really struggled with brakes, and I just lost a lot of time because I started to do mistakes. And but yeah, then second stint was a bit better, and then third stint was really strong. The pace was just there, and but of course fell a bit short.
Are there any moments in the race where you think could have been different, could have maybe got you challenging George for the win?
Well, the whole first stint, I think at the end of the first stint I did a couple of mistakes, and I lost probably 1 second, 1.5 second each laps, because one time I almost went off in turn 4. One lap I went off in turn 3, so lost a lot of time. But of course I think easy to say now. The mistakes were made, and definitely without them probably could have had the chance to fight for P2 or even P1. But of course, easy to say now, and need to make sure they don't happen again.
All right. Kimi, thank you for that. Let's now open this to the floor, please. Name and publication. Who's first, please? Yep.
Joel Godina, F1 Vlog DTHU. Max, you said that Red Bull upgrades moved the car in the right direction, but in the race you still ended up chasing a Mercedes that had the margin control the final stint. What do you think? Where exactly is the remaining deficit now in terms of general performance?
Well, I mean, I started fifth. I was closing the gap constantly every stint. So I don't know. It's hard. I mean, I was catching George. Kimi was catching me. Yeah, I mean, it was close. I mean, we still have some areas, of course, that we want to work on within the car. Like I said, half of the race, I ran a car that was not in top shape. Plus, my brakes today were not really functioning well compared to the rest of the weekend. So that's something that, of course, you manage and you learn how to drive with it, but it's not ideal. So it's stuff that we'll look back at and try to understand. But for us, this has already been a very big step forward compared to the previous races. I mean, look at the last race. You know, in the race, I was just by myself, really, not really challenging anything. So it's been on a track that, you know, the tires are dagging. That's a good sign.
Thanks, Max. Next.
Lawrence Emerson, ESPN. A question for George. You said it's been a tough couple of months. You needed resilience. So how important was it to get this win at this stage of the season? And do you think it can be a reset point on which you can then kind of build and get back to the performance you want?
For sure, I think the team have done a really incredible job to sort of put some real answers down why the performances were not good. You know, it wasn't like I came away from Monaco and Montreal were two really tough races for me, and I didn't leave either of them looking at the data thinking, where is the issue? It was clear what the problem was, and it was clear how we could maybe solve that. And when we perhaps looked through some historical data, there were some trends of this, and it's all just been exacerbated with this new car. So coming into this race weekend, I think maybe my previous approach, it would have really, really hurt me on a track like this. And I drove the race very different and quite abnormally, to be honest, to manage the tyres, and it worked quite well. So, you know, I need to get this further understanding. You know, last year we were 8 years into that, or 4 years into those tyres that we were running with, and I think I really knew in my locker how to handle the tyres at hot tracks, cold tracks, smooth surface, rough surfaces. And this year I don't, to be honest. So I'm rebuilding that. But yeah, the team have done a great job to sort of steer me in the right direction.
Thank you, George. Next.
Phil Duncan, PA. I guess just picking up on that, George, you must feel like for the first time in a little while that this is sort of championship back on, and you know you can put a bit of pressure on Kimi, perhaps.
I mean, every lap he does, he's in the top two of the leaderboard. That was me at the start of the year, and there hasn't been recently. And you know, Barcelona was a real breeze for me. Because it was just clicking every single lap. But here, it was a real fight. But, you know, getting that pole position, getting the win today, like, I know I am capable of doing it. And I always believed that in the years gone by. But as I said, this year, I never doubted my ability. I just doubted maybe the process, and I needed to get on top of that. And I've just seen it so clearly, you know, looking at how Lewis has bounced back this year, looking at, you know, Leclerc, who's one of the best qualifiers on the grid, how he struggled so much this year. You know, we haven't just forgotten how to drive or relearned how to drive. It's just us understanding and getting on top of the package. And I definitely feel every lap, every race I'm doing, I'm making some really good gains in that regard. So yeah, I'm feeling good.
Okay, thanks. Next.
Rodrigo França, Car Magazine Brazil. Question to George. Congratulations on your win. What would be the best scenario for you? Mercedes keeping dominance and you and Kimi only fighting for wins? Or it would be better to Verstappen and Ferrari drivers to steal some points as you are P2 in the championship?
I'd love a big fight, to be honest. You know, you want to have the best drivers with the best teams all fighting, and of course, you know, Max is very much one of the best, and Lewis, Charles, Lando, Oscar, You want them to be in that fight. Unfortunately, the midfield and backfield teams are not there, but more the merrier. And it feels like when we all race go-karting, you were never in a one-on-one battle with anybody. There was always normally at least 3 drivers in the fight for a championship. When I raced F2, F3, F4, there were 3, 4, 5 drivers all fighting, and that's how it should be.
Thank you. Next.
Laurine Slingerland, Nu.nl. A question for Max. Just some counting, the difference with Kimi is now 98 points. Last year it was even more. So with that just in mind, what do you think is possible for the title race?
Well, I think there are more races left, right, than last year. But it's a very big gap. I think for us, we had very good pace. But I think to fight for a title, we need to be more all around. I think we still have too many issues, if that's from a start to just procedural issues in the background that even I think you guys don't know about, but I know about. I think we just need to be a little bit more all around still. It's not a big criticism or whatever. I think everyone is aware. We just want to be, we always want to be better. We chase to be the best. So we just need to focus on all of those things. And then, if we are a bit more, let's say, rock solid, and we've shown that in the past, then of course it's a different story. But hopefully it doesn't take too long. But we have still a little bit of work to do.
Thank you, Max. Any more? No, we will leave it there. Very well done to all 3 of you.
Die Formel 1 auf Sky wurde präsentiert